Hey all, welcome to My Way Mysteries, the channel that brings you interdimensional content, which means that the readings are from a broad and expansive point of view as they are channeled through vast dimensions of space and time, and therefore should resonate with you guys whenever you come across them. I want to quickly speak about water, and then I'm going to draw some cards. It's just something that has occurred to me in a download. I don't know why. Maybe some of you need to just need us to have a conversation about the symbolic elements of water. I think it's also so that maybe you can interpret your dreams or your visions in a different way. And also, when you come across spiritual scripture and they talk about water, to understand that, yes, they do mean physical water, but there's also a symbolic element when it comes to that. Yo, so many things are coming up, and then maybe I'll also talk about candles. Just this whole foundational aspects of spirituality are coming up. It's as if we've spoken about the very high frequency aspects, but it's occurred to me that a lot of people are missing out on the foundational practices that bring you to this stage where you're also able to open yourself up to more and understand more. Okay. And maybe these short discussions about certain elements that play a big role in spirituality will assist and help. So, water. Um, in the most basic sense, the water symbolizes feelings and emotions within spirituality. So, if you are, let's say, reading tarot or looking at certain spiritual art and so forth, water will symbolize feelings or certain emotions. Now, the symbol that we all know is that water is seen as this life bringing element, this life giving element. And that's also why the entities that are connected to large masses of water tend to be motherly entities, almost symbolizing water as this protective, um, nurturing space for the aspect of you that's able to be a child. Do you understand? Because even as an adult, to the entities, to your ancestors, you're a child. And the waters represent this place you come to as someone who wants to learn, as someone who wants to be connected to other more expansive versions of themselves so that they can absorb and learn. Human beings have about 80% of water in their body, and that speaks a lot to the next symbol of water that I want to speak about, which is memory. In the esoteric part of spirituality, water is seen as carrier of memory, which is interesting when you look at our bodies and how we're connected to our ancestors. And yes, we're obviously connected to our ancestors through blood, but the feeling of being with certain ancestors or connecting with certain timelines or certain civilizations, those feelings of those ancestors of ours and how they related within their own families and their own societies and their own situations, those feelings are carried by the water. The ancestor themselves is carried in your blood, but how they felt. Remember how in the beginning I said water has to do with emotion and feel. And so feels our feels are carried in the waters within us, but not just our feels, the feels of other situations that have occurred in your lineage, all the other situations that have occurred in your lineage, how that made that person feel is running within you. And that also plays a part in our karmic cycles, in the things that we need to balance and heal from and clear those waters. I did a reading about iNzunza, about disagreements in families to the point where there's like really destructive behavior, and how that feels, it sticks with you. Just like the feeling of success in your lineage, and transcending through, limiting beliefs, and um, expanding one's consciousness, becoming a healer, or just becoming a mystic, or becoming a magician, basically becoming a person who's able to connect to other forms of life. The feeling of that is in the waters within you. And connecting with that feeling connects you to those ancestors that were able to bring that feeling about. You know how they say you never forget what people say, but you always remember how they make you feel. Like, you forget what people said to you, but you remember how they make you feel. Yeah, that's because feelings are carried in the waters within us. Emotions, water has memory, and it carries those memories in the forms of the feels. Also, when I think about like water, the beings that live in water, like, even honestly, just like, like marine life, basically, um dolphins, octopus, whales, like, I guess in that case, water also speaks to intuition. Water is a symbol of intuition. You see that with the beings that live in water. That's what I'm doing right now. Like, dolphins are known for intuitive communication. The way water beings communicate with each other through sound that humans sometimes can't even hear. So that also speaks to like sound frequency, what else they're able to do with sound. Um, the octopus is one of the most intelligent beings in like the world, and one of the oldest on Earth. Um, that also speaks to the physical body and the intelligence of the physical body, because the intelligence of the octopus has a lot to do with how its body reacts to its natural surrounding. Um, how each part of its, like, the separate tentacles are actually whole beings within themselves, but also part of the complete like being. Isn't that crazy? But yeah, and I'm probably explaining it really badly, but if you're interested in that, look it up. Move Even going into water entities, be it mermaids or Bonabamamlambo and nymphs. I would put Oshun in with this one, and other like sweet water or freshwater deities at this point. In this case, water seems to symbolize a beauty, especially with Abu Mamlambo and Kosazana, Abu Oshun. Here, water symbolizes beauty, and it also symbolizes like an abundance, a wealth of some sort, good fortune, luck. Um, yeah, that kind of stuff. In the Bible, you know how they took Moses and they put him in the water. Moses' name, Moses is Moshe, I think in Hebrew. Moshe. And Moshe actually means something like he who survives the water, or he who is of the waters, or he who comes from the waters. So even before his parents put him in the even before his mom put him in the basket in the water, clearly there's a whole thing about Moses and water. and yeah, all of that. And esoterically, I hear Moses actually had another name before his awakening, and it was only after that that he was called Moses. So maybe that also puts into play that. But anyway, the point was that just bringing up these other energies that are very much connected to water and how we interpret water, and maybe that will help you in, how you interpret your dreams, interpret your visions, and interpret scripture. So much of our own spiritual landscape is undiscovered and unmapped, and all of those memories are sitting in the waters within our body. And the more that you're able to connect with the waters, the more you can connect to maybe all the ancient civilizations that you share lineage with, or all the different aspects that you've been through time, which is your ancestors, or the entities that you have collaborated with through time. You can connect to them through the memory in the waters. So, yeah. Okay, that said, I'm going to pull some cards. Sure, that's so crazy. No one can say I'm not tapped in. The fact that so many, I know this is an earth fact, but I'm taking it's now a spiritual fact. The fact that so many of our waters are undiscovered, I think also speaks a lot to how people are so afraid of like water deities and stuff like that. Because there's so many of our emotions that we are afraid of. We're afraid when we feel certain things. Um, and that also speaks to why we're afraid of connecting with certain, like I said, marine entities. Some people are quite excited to, but a lot of people are afraid. I would actually argue that the only people that are not afraid of dealing with water entities are those that are very much connected to them. Sometimes if you're afraid of something, it's because maybe it's got nothing to do with you. It's just not your path. It's just not what you're supposed to be doing. Because yeah, I don't want it to be like I encourage you guys to do things that you don't want to do. Like, no. I feel like sometimes the people that are more curious about the water entities and all of that, it's because you are so connected to that realm, to that world. And if you're completely afraid and you're like, no, that's not for me, then it's okay. Then it's not for you. But again, water plays a huge part in spirituality, so that's weird. How? Oh my god, I can't believe this. Look, we've got float water, right? And then underwater, I have flow. What? Can't make this shit up, bro. Mm, there's a lot of changes happening around you. And the changes have you feeling, I almost even want to say insecure. Insecure. Um, but I want you to know that it's not because the fear that you're feeling, it's not because there's actually something bad happening around you. It's new things, it's new emotions. And because you've kind of never felt whatever you're feeling now before, I'll go into that a bit more. Because you've never felt it before, you're obviously afraid. Now, what kind of why would there be emotions that you've never felt before? Because to be honest, guys, we only get given like a spectrum of like four emotions or five to feel: happiness, sadness, anger, um, I don't know, depression. And then you just gotta find your way within these. Are you happy? Are you sad? Are you angry? Are you depressed? That's basically mostly it. But there's obviously so many, the spectrum of emotions is so much. Um, sometimes people don't even know the difference between anger and rage. It's like, no, I'm just a little angry. Angry? Angry? You're about to burn a village. You're enraged. And people don't know the difference between anger, rage, and wrath. Because, again, such a limited spectrum of what you are meant to feel. I don't know. I want to say you're expanding your waters. Is that possible? Whatever. So yeah, you're expanding the spectrum on your feelings, on what you can feel. Oh, and it feels like yeah, it feels like, you know how when things are going like well and good in your life, but then you get kind of, I don't know, dare I say bored? You get a little bored, and then you kind of want to step outside of your daily routine. You might pick up something from the past, something that you very much wanted to be without, but because out of your boredom, you might have gone back to it. So I don't know, maybe you are able to spot the beginnings of a toxic relationship or something like that. And then, you know, doing the work, you finally came to the realization you don't want this in your life. And then for a while, things have been great, whatever, healthy relationships, whatnot. And then you kind of got bored, maybe, and you wanted a little bit of excitement. And the thing is, you don't realize, yeah, there is excitement exactly where you are, in the frequency that you are. Your excitement doesn't have to be drama. Your excitement doesn't have to be toxicity. Your excitement doesn't have to be something that you let go of in the past because you know the results of going down that road and you didn't like it. There's other things that you can put yourself into and try that. It's still flow, but it's giving like strategic flow, like a flow with intelligence, a flow. I almost said a flow of consciousness because I'm corny as fuck, but a flow of consciousness, a flow that is conscious, a flow that is conscious, which means you're working with an entity. You're working with an entity. I've given you some of the archetypes of the entities. You can work out which entity you're working with. When you're working with an entity, kind of like your Maya or Mami Wata, it is more nurturing, very much education based, also teaching like. So you being taught in like higher mysteries or something like that. Maybe feminine mysteries because of the waters, maybe sexual mysteries because of the waters. So you're being taught something, you're getting put through yeah, some curriculum of something. It's giving high priestess or high priest curriculum. And then you've got these other entities like, or other archetypes like Unomhoi, Oshun. Okay, Nomhoi, Oshun, Nkosazana. So that speaks to like sensual energy, beauty, maybe ways of developing another income stream, ways of getting a promotion, ways of loving your job, ways of being good at your job. If you're really good at something, you will most likely like doing it. So maybe there's other ways that you can find to do your job and make it more efficient. Basically, Abonomhoyi and Nkosazana and Oshun have to do with self-love through performance, so to speak, or through expression. Performance was very much the wrong word. Through expression. So love what you do, you know, love who you are, that type of thing. Make life as enjoyable as possible. That's their whole thing. And then you've got like the Mamlambos and the La Sirene, which is also entities that teach, also entities that have to do with abundance, also entities about nurture. But these ones tend to be more protective than the others that I've mentioned. Like, these energies tend to go into, like, stand up for yourself. That stage where you're like raising teenagers, and it's weird because you have to be firm, but at the same time, you kind of have to let go a little so that they can, become who they need to become, so that they can have consequences happen to them, so they know lessons and stuff like that. And so those entities tend to be like that with you. Um, yeah. Um, Olokun is an Orisha. He also has to do with water, Baba wasemanzini. Very much connected to healers. Abantu besithunywa, abantu abasebenza ngamanzi nje. Ey'ntweni zokulapha. Yeah. Strategic flow. I feel like it's almost as if your ancestors or there's entities you're working with have been showing you how flow works. And flow is a high frequency concept. It's an Kanyamba energy kind of concept. It's something you find in a Kanyamba matrix or templates. But I feel like they're teaching you the next level of that. Because at first, I've been teaching how to allow flow. But this is different. This is how to direct flow. This is being a water bender, a flow bender. I was just teaching you how to notice flow, how to, you know, be aware of flow yourselves. But this is how to direct flow. This is strategic flow. This is brave work. You're brave if you're doing this, because yeah. Yeah, this is high magic, beloved. Um, yeah, you've even got the expansion of the heart space here, and the heart space always has to do with self love, with how you see yourself. And it's as if the way that you see yourself is expanding. First, you were a student, like an initiate, an adept, but yeah, you are more than that now. I think that's maybe hard for you to accept. Some of you, it's like you want to be a student forever, and you don't understand that you've actually come far in your learning, in your spiritual education. It's time to express. It's time to put yourself out there. It's time to be seen, be heard, be interacted with. It's time to direct the flow. Yeah, for real. Look at this. It's time for you to direct the flow. Yes, because your education is over. One, like complete, like your education is like, yes, obviously still engage in the content that you engage in because it's your field, it's the industry that you're in. So obviously you want to know more about it, right? Being spirituality, you want to know what's happening today in spirituality. And obviously, one must keep learning, one must keep doing things. Oh my God. But you must express, you must practice. You can't always just be taking in information. You must also, there must be an output, there must be an expression. And maybe that's what it speaks to with the water, because the way Moses's mom put him in the basket and then, down the river and he ended up somewhere else. Water is the element that is able to travel through time and space. And there's something about that here with you. It's like you are being put in a basket. Like you were learning stuff, you were learning things, you were in your learning chamber, but now you're being put in this basket and you're being put into this river, which is like giving some symbol of time and space. And you're going to be put into like this different situation, environment to what you're in now, but you are so suited for the environment which you are going into. And no, do not draw a parallel to Moses' story where, you know, or do, or do, whatever resonates, or do. But what I was trying to say with that is that this is not one of those, oh, this is going to be so challenging. Like, no, wherever your ancestors or your guys are taking you down this river is more suited for you than where you were before you got into the spiritual education. And you're going to see that really quickly. It's not something that's going to confuse you. You're going to notice that immediately. Your spiritual understanding makes it so that you are suitable for many other ways of being. You are suitable to exist in other dimensions. And I know when I say that, people tend to think dimensions is somewhere outside of like Earth or something. No, all the dimensions are here. Everything is here. Earth is multidimensional. An entity can take you from there to there without you even knowing that you've traveled, son. You busy thinking you're in the same place. No, not even. You've moved. Look around more. You'll notice. All right, y'all. That's what I have for you. I think it was actually just a symbolic reading all the way around. But yeah. Okay. If you want to book a reading or a reading or a mentorship session, that information is in the description box. There you go.